Hey, what's up, security world? I'm forgot to change into my uniform. Much better. So I'm back with another Ask an Expert interview where I talk with another security guard company owner. This was an absolutely incredible interview for the subject matter that we covered. So rather than me telling you how great it was, why don't you just go ahead and check it out? All right, Jamar, thanks for giving me your time this evening. Why don't you start out by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Oh, perfect. My name is Jamar Richardson. I'm the vice president / CEO of a company called NorCal Private Security Services. We're located in Northern California.
Okay, so how long you guys been in business and how did you get started?
So currently, we've been in business for 2 years, and how I got started is my background a little bit. So my first job, I actually got my first opportunity as a regular security guard doing security for Amazon for their data center. After a few years doing that, I got promoted to supervisor, but then I got an opportunity from another job to actually start doing something called EP, executive protection. So after doing executive protection for about 2 3 years, I got real close to my boss. I kind of got to see the insides and out of the security game, and I decided, hey, you know what, I could do this for myself. And I decided to go in business, and I found a business partner, and I made it happen.
Wow, that's incredible. And I think a lot of security guard company owners kind of make it down that path the exact same way. But what I've noticed is, what all you guys have in common is, you face this common set of challenges when you're first getting started. What would you say your top three challenges were in starting your company?
The number one thing, learning the different insurances that you need to properly get a client. I ran into an issue before, I thought I had everything in my rows, everything was ready to go. And then my client asked me for a certain policy or certain that, and I didn't have. And I realized I had to take a step back and say, just before I could just go out there running, getting accounts, I need to learn, hey, what the proper insurances that I need so I can actually, close the business and get the thing done. Second thing, operation costs, certain things that you just wouldn't think you'll have to spend money on pop up, overtime fees, all different things in that aspect. And also too, when I first started off, how to, target your clients. Right. When I first started, the thing with me is I just thought, my phone's going to be ringing, it was just going to be so easy. But then I sat back and realized, there's a lot of work that you have to put in, follow-ups, cold calls, just walking into a building, introducing yourself, small things that actually, end up making a big difference in the long run.
All right, so you hit a couple of things that we got to talk about. All right.
Okay.
So the insurance deal. Is it as simple as going out, I'm gonna call Allstate or State Farm and get an insurance policy and I'm good?
No, no. So for security, what I learned is you need to work with someone that has security experience with insurance. You just can't get any joker broker off the street, all state, none of that. You need to deal with someone that actually knows the guard business because, you should be able to pick up that phone and say, hey, I need a $5 million GL policy for this. They should understand what you're talking about. Hey, we're getting a patrol car. I need this type of insurance. Hey, I'm doing this. Or, even down to the small things like key insurance, people don't understand, but that's a big thing as well. Let's say you're doing an office building and it has, let's say, like 1,000 rooms and your guard forgets to, leave the key at the station and takes it home and they have to change the locks. And, who's got to pay for that? You, because that responsibility falls onto you. So even down to the small insurances that people don't really think about has a major effect on your business.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So key insurance, most people don't even understand what that is until they get into the security guard industry. I've heard, I've talked to a lot of security guard companies who've found, companies like State Farm who will cut a policy for them. And what happens is, you take that policy, you walk into a client and they're like, no, this don't happen. This ain't going to work. Right. I mean, that's a tough part. I mean, has that happened to you before?
Actually, it has. So I actually transitioned to, you should be familiar with Fred Garland House. That's what I use for insurance now. Yeah, I had a situation where, so right now, we're doing a chain of hotels, right? A new one came up. I brought my old policy and I said, hey, it was a regular $1 million GL. And they said, Jamar, we need more. So I upped it to 5 million GL, but then they requested that the interior of the policy. So there's multiple things, not just the certificate, but they want to know the whole details, the whole script of it sometimes. And, what we had didn't really match up to their quality. And, to me, I thought we had it all figured out. Come to find out that, the people that I were using went through a third party that wasn't licensed to get that, insurance in the state of California. So that's something that, really woke me up and said, okay, let me take a step back. Let me look at every little single thing, because it's the small things like that could like hurt you from getting a client or, make your business not look as professional. But, we got all that cleared up. We got all that fixed, and now we're ready to go for anything.
So you gave them your certificate of insurance, your COI, the Accord form. And on the
Yes.
Accord form is $1 million, $5 million, whatever. It's cool.
Yes.
But then they said, let me actually see your policy. And when
That
they
is
went through the
correct.
policy, then the things that were supposed to be there weren't there.
That is correct.
Wow, that's crazy. And
Yeah.
it's funny. I mean, I've been in business. I've worked in the security guard industry. It's been going on almost 20 years now. And I've never heard that before. Like a client saying, hey, I know I want to see the policy. Right. But it makes sense. It makes sense because they were able to catch something, they've probably seen that happen before. But now, based on that experience, you've learned from that. And now you're a better security guard company for it.
Oh man, yeah, we're on point now, and I'm happy that did happen because as we are a growing company, you do not want to run into these issues with future clients. You just want to be able to pick up the phone and say, okay, this is what you need. I can get this for you, and then proceed with business. Because in the security guard business, clients, they might come a month to month, or maybe every 3 months, maybe every 6 months. So, you definitely want to value each client that comes your way. Listen to them, hear them out, and take care of them the best you can.
Okay. So as you're talking about clients, right? Selling security guard service is not an easy thing. And you and I talked about that a little earlier about, when you first get started, you think the phone's going to ring off the hook. Everybody's going to want you. How did you get past that to where you are right now? I mean, because to have a chain of hotels, there are a lot of security guard companies who would love to have that, but aren't able to get there. How are you able to get over those obstacles?
The number one thing, persistence, consistency. The chain that we did get, I didn't get them on the first try, the second try, not even the third try, not even the third try. It was the fourth, fifth try where I finally got an opportunity to get in front of them, to present them with a different service that they never really had before. Because I believe security is always evolving, right? The times have changed. And honestly, that's why I love Officers Report, right? We're doing something called the COVID-19 program. And we integrated my program with the technology of Officers Report to take individual reports of people that come in, check their temperature, and then it goes directly to the client. So they could always have this information on file. And it's really good. They loved it. And it was something different. And that's what made us really stand out.
So you took innovation plus technology to combine that into a package, an actual security package that you could sell rather than just going in and selling a couple of hours of security service.
Yes, of course, of course. Because I feel like, especially in these times, you always got to feel like, what can you do to stand out? What can you do to show a client something different? Because I know our competition, the G4S, the Securitas, the big companies out there. And even though, yes, we are a smaller company and it's grown, it's good to offer something a little bit different that stands out from your competition. And then on top of that, to use the proper technology to execute it, clients love it.
All right. So, the funny thing is, I actually saw your COVID program before I saw anybody else's, right? I mean, you were like literally the first person that I saw with the COVID program. What drove you to do that?
Well, to be honest with you, so right before COVID hit, I had an opportunity to close a contract that was about $1.2 million. Due to COVID, my whole, everything got put on pause. We had to wait and everything. And I'm gonna be honest, like, it left me a little staggered. I was like, what can I do to keep getting through this hard time? Because I know it's a hard time for everybody in the world. And I sat down and then I took educational classes through the World Health Organization to learn about COVID, because to defeat thy enemy, you must know thy enemy, right? So I took courses, I sat down for about 2, 3 weeks and I studied. Once I realized what COVID was, how to properly use PPE, how to put it on, how to take it off, how to properly assess people, I decided to do training for that for my officers. And I developed a program. And then once my officers were trained, I had a program already set up. Now I was ready to give it to my clients or to new clients to show them, hey, I know it's a tough time in the world. I know everybody's scared of this, but we can still function. We can still, go to our day-to-day operations just in a safer way. And that's why I think, security is always evolving, because it's not just about putting a warm or cold body in front of a building. It's about providing quality service and adapting with your clients.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I mean, I encourage people to innovate all the time, but some people don't have the vision to say, okay, this is more than just putting a body on a post, right? There's certain things the customer is looking for. If you could figure those things out and present that to them as part of a security package, you're going to knock that out the park every time. So you talked about, training and operations, right? So how do you go about doing your training with your officers? I mean, is there something operationally that you do different than other companies?
Yes. So for training, I like to be very hands-on for my training. So first, we'll start off at the office, assess them mentally, different tests. Okay, like to see where their mindset's at. Second of all, I love to do on-site training. I like to get my hands dirty and like have my officers understand the building. And the number one thing too is to make sure my officers know who is the point of contact at each building that they are at. Because a lot of times, officers, they don't know the point of contact and they might say something and do something to the wrong person. And this happens all the time. They think they're just joking around with somebody. Come to find out it's the plant manager, it's the property manager, it's the hotel manager, right? So it's one of those things. And that's something else that we train is customer service training as well, because security is not just standing there. It's, you deal with people on a day-to-day basis. You got to have officers that know how to carry this up professionally and also understand, look, we're not the police. Okay, I don't want you running over there, handcuffing people, throwing them to the ground, being too aggressive. You got to learn how to deal with people, use your words, speak to them, understand people. And I realized that, that saves you for so many different lawsuits and everything else that could come after your GL policies and insurance policies.
Man, you're preaching to the choir here. You're preaching to the choir. And it's funny as you're talking, all the problems that, you experience as a security guard company owner, probably 90% of the companies out there have experienced the same thing. So as you're talking about that stuff, I'm having little flashbacks of the pains and the crying that I had to do when I had my company. But so, you've been in business a few years now, right? There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to take in, right? So have you done that on your own? Do you have mentors, advisors? I mean,
So my number one mentor, I got to shout him out, Joe Russell. I'm gonna be honest. So when I first started off, the business was slow. I was just getting my feet wet into the game, and I was learning. Working with Joe, he really showed me how to properly carry myself in the company in a professional fashion to grow the right way. It's like building a house. You want to build it with solid bricks, not with hay. But the thing is, it takes longer. The bricks are heavier, but when you do it the right way, you get the right results. And I just got to thank him for that.
I love that analogy, right? You said bricks are heavier and it's going to take longer, but you got the foundation. I love that. Absolutely love that. So what's the best advice that you've received as an entrepreneur
Mhm.
And what advice would you give to other people who are thinking about starting security guard companies?
First thing I would say is, breathe. Okay, the first breathe. It sounds simple, but it's complicated once you really get into the meat of the business. Second thing is you got to just persevere. There's going to be days, there are going to be weeks, maybe months where you don't get a call, but that doesn't mean your work is sloppy. If anything, that should make you work harder to improve your work. I remember when I first started uh, my proposals, there were only 5 pages. Didn't really know what I was really doing. By the time I got done, like probably 6, 7 months later, they're 40 pages now. Quality training, everything, clients need to know about the company and more. And we're still adding on and innovating. So I would just say, take it day by day, keep putting in the work. Don't worry about that your phone's not ringing today or tomorrow. Keep putting all your efforts into your work because it will pay off. It will.
Okay, so let's talk about that proposal. So
Yeah.
that's actually kind of funny. So you went from a 5 page proposal to a 40
Yes.
page proposal.
Yes.
Why? I mean, because most people, getting started think, oh, 5 pages is more than enough. Why? Why did you do that?
Because I started to realize, one, your competition. Two, the thing is, if you're out here and you're competing against, my goal is to grow my company to go against the big nationals. To go against the nationals, you got to bring, 5 pages to a big time client. It just shows that you're not putting in the effort. It feels like you don't care as much. You're being sloppy. When you have 40 pages, when you have different forms of training, background checks, insurances, different programs that you offer internally, consulting, going down there, talking to them, showing them how they could properly secure themselves. When you offer multiple services, it lets your clients know, wow, like, you know what, they feel more comfortable doing business with you. They have more confidence doing business with you, and that's the number one thing that I really did learn.
So when they get that proposal, you think that proposal gives them more confidence because they can see more details about your company. It's just not kind of ragtag type of thing.
Yes, it's not just thrown together. It's not like, okay, I just ran to the computer and just started typing on Microsoft Word. I put time, effort, and real, training into this to have a real legit program that works.
Excellent, excellent. So what advice have you been given, right,
Mhm.
that has benefited you? Best advice.
The best advice. I was just honestly best advice, keep your head on straight. During this business, you're gonna have times where you just want to pull your hair out. There's gonna be certain situations that come up that are just really hard to stomach. And you gotta be mentally strong through this. And that's for any business. When you're first starting off, you're gonna have those tough days, those tough nights. And it's all, like I said before, it's all about perseverance, taking it day by day, and you'll definitely get through it. But yeah, best advice, just keep your head on straight, stay focused, and stay focused on your goals. Never give up on your goals. I think that's the number one thing that people do. Things don't go your way, and you start thinking, you know what, maybe I won't be that big. Maybe I won't do this. Maybe this is not for me. Never second guess yourself. You were put in this position for a reason, you know? And since you got here, just see it through and everything will work out.
Excellent. And talking about perseverance, what does the future look like for NorCal? What do you think it looks like for the industry, right? So we've seen over the past, 15, 20 years, all this consolidation, big guys buying medium-sized companies. And a lot of people think, oh, Allied Universal is going to take over the world. There's not going to be any other
Right.
security companies. What's your take on that? And where do you see yourself in the industry 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I see myself competing with them. I see myself going up there neck to neck. I know Allied, G4S, the big companies out there, they're definitely, they're buying smaller companies. To some people, it might even be intimidating, but I'm not intimidated. At the end of the day, you can create your own future if you believe hard enough. At the end of the day, people need to understand with major clients, what we have to offer is the customer service aspect. You call a big national, who's going to pick up the phone? You're going to get some random guy that's just ready to clock off. You call us, you get top management, people that care. people that are actually going to do something. I talk to multiple clients and they tell me, man, before I got with you guys, people never used to pick up the phone, never respond to emails. I mean, don't get me wrong, these guys are big, but the customer service aspect lacks. It lacks majorly. So I think that's a place where smaller companies could come in and be like, look, you know, we could provide you the same service or even better, but with the customer service aspects, they feel like, you know what, I'm properly getting taken care of and I'm getting, the worth of, what they're paying.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head, right? So when I had my security guard company, that's how we pitched ourselves against the big guys. It's, if there's a problem, one day you're going to pick up the phone, call the branch. The branch manager might be there, he might not be there. Next week, you got a different branch manager who doesn't know, who's not going to respond. But with a smaller company, I'm imagining your customers have your cell phone number.
Yes, they do. And they can call me any time of the day.
And I think that's the key. Small companies. When you're comparing those to big companies, you guys provide much better customer service. Always has been. So yeah, I think smaller companies, aren't going anyplace, right? Because smaller chains, smaller customers want that type of interaction. A lot of them had experience with the big guys, and they realize, if I'm not 3,000 hours a week, I'm not going to get a phone call back.
Yeah. Correct.
All right. So talking about customers, what customer out there would you absolutely love to have? What would be your white whale? Like, oh, I signed this client, I am the man.
Man, honestly, I would say Microsoft. I'm in California, and they have a big compound out here, and I would just love to work with them. I know they have different locations everywhere. I know that I can provide them the best service they ever had, and I know that I could be, I'll be there on the ground, making sure things go correctly day in and day out. Morning to night.
All right, if there's somebody out there from Microsoft, give my guy a phone call. Hey, Jamar, tell people how they can reach you. Tell Microsoft how they can reach you.
Hey, Microsoft, you can reach me at 209-534-6118, and we're ready to go.
And what's the website? What's your website?
It's www.ncpsecurity.com.
Excellent, excellent. Man, Jamar, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Man, same.
All right. So thanks again. We will connect a little later on. In the meantime, you stay safe, brother.
All right, you too. Thank you so much, Courtney.
All right.